What up, world? Waxville in Seattle, Washington. You already know what it is. Welcome to Waxville Fireside Chat. We got greatness in the building. We're unboxing. We're doing a listening session. And my soul sister, Rachel J, is going to interview me, and we're going to talk about my one-on-one interview with Pale J. Keep it locked. We'll kick things off real soon, y'all. Shout out to everybody on the line. We see it. Rachel J's pulling up real soon, y'all. Keep it locked. Shout out to everybody on the line. Tonight's very epic, y'all. Very epic. We see it. What up, sis?
Hey.
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, y'all. We got 10 on the line. I want to welcome everybody to a very, very special unboxing. Tonight, we are here to celebrate the release of Pale J's debut album on Karma Chief Records, Bewilderment. Now, y'all know we've been doing the unboxings for over 3 years, but because this is monumental, I wanted a co-host tonight. And not just any co-host. I needed to have someone join me that was as big a fan of Pale J as myself. So there was only one person that was perfect for this role, and that is Rachel J, one of my favorite soul sisters from the scene. If y'all aren't following her, please go ahead and follow her. She is a fantastic supporter of the indie scene, the vinyl community, and I just thought it would be fantastic to have a co-pilot tonight. Now, back to the story. When it comes to Pale J and this record, y'all have heard me talk about it. You've heard the snips. Some of you might have received the record already, but after one listen, I knew that this was a special record. And this is the type of record that we just don't see come around too often. And so I want to do a little bit more to support and strengthen this release. So we got a couple things planned for tonight. We're going to talk about Pale J's previous work before he came to Karma Chief Coal Mine. We're going to unbox the record. My sister Rach got hella color variants to showcase to y'all. She's going to talk about where they came from. We're going to cover the album front to back. We're going to have a very meaningful listening session where Rachel and I have picked two of our favorite songs to sample for you. And then we're going to close things out with an interview. About a month ago, I had the opportunity to have a one-on-one, face-to-face conversation with Pale J. And I think it would be fantastic for you to hang around to listen to this, because what I'm going to share with you, you will not read or find anywhere else. I believe that this is the one and only interview that Pale J is doing to support the release of this album. So without further ado, we're going to kick things off. Rachel, go ahead and let people know about Pale J prior to Karma Chief.
So I first heard Pale J on Spotify, and immediately his beats and the instrumentals like drew me in, and then also his voice. He has literally the sweetest voice ever. So he wrote, produced, and mixed all of the songs on his debut EP. It's the Celestial Suite.
Yeah.
It was released in 2021 on Playground, or by Playground Music.
Yep.
It's awesome. I love it. I have listened to it over and over and over. And so this was my introduction to Pale J. And something about this process that I thought was like super cool is I got to kind of get a window into how he makes music. So the song For James, if you're familiar with this album, For James is basically the beginning of the character Pale J.
That's very true.
And so how he creates music is first he puts together the beats, creates the beats, puts them together, and then adds the lyrics. And that's how the Celestial Suite came about. It's an amazing album. Or EP. I love it, and I think with Bewilderment, he's just going to give us. He's giving us more of what he started with the Celestial Suite.
I love that. I love that. And
Love
you're
it.
100% right. I remember when I was listening to Celestial Suite, I was thinking, man, what's the rest of Bewilderment going to sound like, right? Like, where
Right.
is Pale J going to take us? And so one thing I want to add a little color to what you said. So the very first song that was created was For James. And For James was kind of a tribute to Jay Dilla. For a lot of people that don't know, Pale J, by trade, is a beat maker. And he's been doing that for a very, very long time. So as he was crafting and creating these beats, he wanted to really sell them, essentially, right? And what better way to do that than to put vocals on them?
Right.
So to your point, For James was really the foundation, the creation, the birth of the character that we see as Pale J. And from there, it started with a few songs, and before you knew it, we had what became Celestial Suite.
Right.
So yeah, that is fantastic. And then I want to say maybe January, February, Coal Mine made major headlines with the release of Very Special 45. Can you talk about that one a little bit?
So
Oh, you got the goods. That's a nice looking sleeve you got there.
Yeah, okay, Waxware 45. By the Lake is the first 45, the first 7-inch, that is from Bewilderment. It's the first song, and it came out. So I was already a Pale J fan, love the music. And then when this song came out, I just like I've played it so many times. I've sent it to all my friends. It's a staple in my house. I listen to it all the time. It just really showcases his voice. I mean, his voice, he has the sweetest voice.
Yeah.
Like, it was just amazing. So this came out on Karma Chief Records by Coal Mine.
Yep.
And then on the flip is Akonsky, runner-up.
Shout out to
So
Akonsky. We love Akonsky.
Yes, love Akonsky. So I really love this song because, one, it was a window into what Pale J was going to put out, you know, the next big thing that I was going to hear from him. And so it's a favorite of mine because of that. And then also, you know, it features Akonsky, which I really love. So
Yeah. The morning that they made that announcement and I heard that intro with Jay's vocals, I lost it. I just couldn't believe the harmony that I was hearing. And I was like, who is this? Because really, when I see a mask, I think of MF Doom, for all my hip hop heads out there. And so I was like, I love this. I love when we get into character, right? There's something that happens and there's a bit of magic that we get with Pale J, with the concealing through the mask and the hat, the outfit that we always see. So that got me stoked. And then I want to say, like, a couple months later, we heard about the release of the album. And around that point was when I connected with Pale J. Now, when we talk about the unboxing, right, here is the record right here. Everyone's seen it. Everyone knows about it. We've heard the songs. I just, the very first time that I listened to this, I was knocked off my chair. I have not heard a record, songs consecutively like this in the order that they are placed, that have the type of impact. And I think this kind of record, without a doubt, it was easy for me to say that this was 2023 album of the year. I don't think that there's any record that's come out this year that can transcend and unite people through the sounds that we hear on this record.
yeah,
There are
totally.
so many things that really gravitate, that had me gravitating. And I was thinking, my gosh, I'm focused on the lyrics, but then I hear this drum fill, right? One thing that you have to understand about this record is that, truly like an architect, the way that these drum fills are placed, they're done in a manner where they're triggering heart and mind, where you're kind of getting up and you're really feeling the music differently. And I think that's what makes this special. Now, one thing I want to call out, all songs are recorded and produced by Pale J. By the Lake contains a sample of Runner Up by Akonsky. There is a star on this record that nobody has talked about yet, and he goes by the name of Raven Bush. Now, for those fans that are peeking right now, Raven Bush is Kate Bush's nephew, okay? Now, with this said, you can hear Raven across the record anytime there are strings. And I did some homework. I researched this gentleman, and he's a true architect when it comes to doing what he does with the strings and the synths. Very outside the box. But Raven's work on this album can specifically be heard, especially when we're getting to those breaks. When we're getting to the part where it's time to dance, kind of like that big buildup.
Yes.
where Raven really shines. And I think on Bewilderment, I mean, he just really takes the cake on that one. Saxophone, additional background vocals. Don't Forget That I Love You. Marquise McGee, additional background vocals on My Dirty Desire by Nicola Roast. And here's a cool fact for all the fans out there. When it says additional background noise by Phipps, okay?
I love it. Yeah.
Phipps is Pale J's wife, okay? And in their home, as he's recording this project, she happened to be working in the same unit, right? Now, Pale J is a master with the sound, so it's not anything that's going to come out and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can hear it. But there are traces on the record. So when you're looking at this and you're trying to look up all the people on this record, I hope this kind of helps you sleep a little easier at night, because I don't think you're going to find Phipps anywhere, okay? Mixed by Pale J, mastered by Doug Krebs, cover artwork by Pale J, photography by Laurite Baccoli. So one of the things that really interested me about this project was the imagery. We always saw lots of flowers, lots of green, life, earth, right? Here's more water in the videos. We see the boat, okay? He's riding the bike and everything like that. All of this was done in Switzerland, all kind of close in the same vicinity. A very natural, authentic, organic feel with this. And I truly love it because I think Jay is someone who loves to be outside, who loves the nature. That's where he's most happiest. And so I love that we get that. I was very curious about the water and what it really meant in terms of the album and Jay as an artist. And so that's really what kind of came about with it. Now, on the back of this album, we have liner notes written by Terry Cole. I thought about reading them line for line because it is one of the best, I don't know, it's like a manifesto. Like, you should read this before you listen to the record right here.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I love that.
Terry did a fantastic job introducing us, not just to Jay, but to the music on this album. And one of the things that I'll call out, and I've talked about this, it's not what he's saying, but how he's saying it. And so what Terry says here is,
you can tell that he really loves Pale.
Yeah. As he dug into the EP, another element that often gets overlooked emerged as a strength: lyrics. It might sound trite for me to champion the lyrics, but in a world where strong production and vibe can carry a song, it was refreshing to be swept away by some of Mr. J's lyricism. And the reason I bring that up, the reason that I talk about what Terry wrote, is because Jay's got a pen like nobody that we've ever heard before. You know, when he talks about the snacks, we're going to get into that later. When he talks about being supple like a jungle cat, all those catchy choruses, that's regular life for Jay. That's day-to-day stuff. These are all things that he's gleaned and extracted from just living. And I dug into that. I really wanted to understand more behind that. So I want to talk about In Your Corner, when he's talking about I carry the snacks. This is a fantastic fact.
I love snacks.
Yeah. So the thing with it is, Jay loves to cycle. He loves riding his bike. And so oftentimes without snacks, you bonk out, right? You always need your energy. So to Jay's friends, he's known as the snack god. And so that is what that is in reference to, because he's always got snacks with him. He always wants to make sure that everyone's got the right energy, whether they're cycling or not.
More reason to love Pale J, always has the snacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, you know, kind of geeking out and thinking about these lyrics, what could they mean and everything like that. Finding out just the simplicity of it was such a beautiful thing, yet the meaning really transcends and manifests to whatever you think it could be. And especially when you listen to the lyrics on that song, it's absolutely phenomenal.
I love it. That's one of my favorites.
And I love the fact that they made the decision to put the lyrics on the inside of the cover.
Agreed. Yeah.
Such a strong album. I love reading along as he's like singing. You know what I mean? I just think that's fantastic. Now, I want to turn it over to you because you've got a plethora of color variants. Let us know what you got in your box.
Okay, so of course you have. I think you have the red.
Yeah, let me grab that
real quick. Okay. And then that is the Plaid Room exclusive. I think
Indie exclusive.
Yes, it is limited to 1,500 copies.
Ooh, I love that you got the press count. That's impressive.
So, and then obviously there is the black.
OG.
The OG black. Gotta have the OG black. Have to have a collection, you know. One of my favorites is the Coke Bottle Clear.
Oh,
and this is
vintage.
Yes, and this is a coal mine web store exclusive.
Okay.
It's limited to 500 copies.
Oh, that's a low press.
Yeah, had to cop. My absolute favorite is the Translucent Teal, and this is a Seasick Records exclusive.
That
and
is
so
sick.
it's limited to 200 copies. Yes, and so
That's a low press. Did you say 200?
Yeah, 200
Okay.
copies on this one. So, and then obviously the red that you already showed. And then I have one that's on the way from Berlin.
Okay.
And that's an HHV exclusive, and that's limited to 500 copies. And it's an opaque natural. So it's kind of like an off-white opaque. But, you know, I have to have all the color variants, and a couple of them I have 2 copies because, you know, one to play and one for the collection. So, yeah.
You are going to leave some on ice. You're not going to open them all.
Yeah. I have some. I mean, I have some that I don't want to say too much because I don't want to say how much I've spent on this. But yeah.
I love that.
Definitely.
I love that. So let's get back to the track listing real quick, folks. 8 tracks clocking in at 24 minutes. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that I thought there was some conspiracy going on. 8 songs released in the 8th month of the year. When I presented that to Jay, he said, nah, he goes, it just happened to work out that way. But I thought there was some sort of like beautiful mind crazy equation around it. Because that was the same. I want to say the Celestial Suite was also 8 songs, 22.
No, it was 5
minutes?
songs. So
5 songs.
Yeah, 5 songs. And then they also released the instrumentals without the vocals.
Okay.
So one side had the vocals and then the other side was instrumental.
Right,
so,
right.
5 songs.
So for me, off the top, one thing I noticed about Jay from project to project, nobody starts the side of a record like Pale J does. From For James to Preface to Bewilderment. I mean, kicking off the record
Those
with that
intros
is so
are
impactful.
really
Those are like hit records,
They're
you know?
amazing, yeah.
Preface. That is the intro on side A. And for those that don't know, this is a dedication to Terry Cole and Coal Mine Records. So listening to the lyrics, I think you can do the math and kind of understand what Jay is saying, but really it's about being grateful for the opportunity to release this music in the way that he did. We're going to talk more about Jay and Terry later, but you know, to have a tribute like that is really special, and it's a testament to who Terry Cole is, and how he let Jay just kind of get in his zone and create.
And it's beautifully done too. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, In Your Corner, when I heard that to me, I said, this is the one that's going to be the radio-friendly single that we're going to see music videos for. It's going to win a Grammy and a lot more. Amazing, amazing song from the lyrics, but I just love the build-up to the break.
Right.
That's like a celebration. Everyone's dancing, high-fiving. I mean, you cannot turn off your feelings for this.
You really can't. Like, it is amazing. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Dreaming in Slow Motion, another beautiful track. This is definitely one of the slower ones on the album. But I just love how dreamy it feels. That's that dreamy, dusty space vibe that Terry kind of described on the hype sticker. But it's a beautiful, beautiful song. Another thing that I noticed about this record, as the songs come to the end, the way that they end, you can almost hear the sound closing differently. So when you go from Dreaming in Slow Motion to By the Lake, and you get that kind of like a cappella almost intro, it takes your breath away. It's different than hearing it on the 45 than it is on the LP going from song to song. It's like the earth stops. Right?
I do love that about him. Each song, like you said, it kind of takes you on, each song takes you on like this mini trip. And then at the very end, it just kind of flows into the next one, and the next one is another different, like completely different. I don't know. I love it. I agree.
Right.
I think it's great. Yeah.
No, you're definitely right. And I think there's something to be said about how intentional he was to set these tracks the way they did. Because if you go to Preface, In Your Corner, Dreaming in Slow Motion, and By the Lake, think of the lyrics and the story that's being told through those 4 songs right there. Now, we flip it over to side B, and this is where I got stuck. I think the only
Yeah.
mistake on this project was calling it side B. It should have been AA because there's nothing B about
A
this.
2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bewilderment might be one of my favorites along with Dirty Desires, but I'll tell you what, Bewilderment is a very powerful song. It's personal to Jay. We're not going to get into the details, but this one means a lot. And so as you listen to that from the start to the finish, the lyrics, that build up that happens at the very end. I mean, what a powerful, powerful song, right?
Yeah.
The instrumentation is building up as you're getting to the end. The lyrics are there, and he's just crooning, and it's incredible.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Now,
I love it.
the next one is My Dirty Desires. And this is the one that I would say has kind of a disco-esque Afro beat, maybe a little kind of feel to it. But this is the one that got me. I just love the way the drums are hitting. And he starts out talking about getting ready for this magnificent night. Like, I can't wait. Like, it's Friday night, we're going out on the town. But no, it's truly a dedication to the introverts. And he talks about being home. And by this point in the album, I'm realizing that Jay is telling all of our stories to a degree. At some point throughout our life, we can relate to these songs. And again, he doesn't go so deep with the lyrics that we're like, that's his story. He's making this so that everybody can be a part of it. And as you think about the sadness, you think about the highlights, the triumph, it's all wrapped up in one, and you go through these emotions on every single song. But you always end feeling like, you know, you're not alone, you're together, you're better. You're better than you were before you listen to the song or the record. And that feeling is not something that we get when we hear LPs, when we hear 45s. That's what makes this so special. Right. Towards the end of My Dirty Desire, there's a part where his vocals change a bit. And he was trying to channel an opera singer, right? And listening to those lyrics at the very end, again, this is what Terry's talking about. This is exactly what Terry's talking about, especially on this song. When he talks about being free, I felt that. Like, I felt that.
So true.
And you get that from the instrumentation too, which again, remember, Pale J by trade. He's an arranger. He's classically trained with jazz.
Right. Okay? Amazing. Amazing.
This is what he does. This is his thing. And I kind of say, you know, like a ball of clay, he's shaping and molding this. And he's going back and refining. And he's listening and he's like, yeah, this is ready. I'm going to share something with you from the interview when we get there that will make a lot of sense about this record, how everything kind of came together. We get to Vladimir. And this has an interesting hook. You know, I heard that, and I love the hook. I love the instrumentation behind it. But what's so powerful about this one, when you think of the name Vladimir, how many Vladimirs do you know? Perhaps this has to do with an invasion and war. Or maybe, you know, a relationship that could have went sour. Maybe there's a double meaning behind it. These are things that I want you to think about as you listen to this in the meaning. Right. Because remember, like I just said previously, he never takes us to a place that's so granular that we're lost and we don't understand it. It feels right, even when it's wrong. So Vladimir was a very powerful one. On Don't Forget That I Love You, this is the closing. And after we've been through this beautiful journey with Jay, from Preface to Dreaming in Slow Motion to Bewilderment, he wants to remind us that he loves us. It's almost like a farewell, like the perfect closing. And that's what makes this album and the tracks and the succession that they come so impactful, so important, and just an incredible listening experience. Now, Rach, I've been yapping for a minute. I want to weigh in. I want you to weigh in and tell me, what are the ones that moved you the most? What did you listen to first when you heard this?
So, of course, we had already heard several of the tracks that had been released over the last, you know, couple weeks. I have to go back to By the Lake. Obviously, you know it's my favorite. Yeah. His voice is just literally amazing. His voice is just like so sweet, and it's like sinewy. It takes you on a journey through the song. I just absolutely love it. The lyrics of that song are just amazing to me. I love that song so much. I also loved I loved In Your Corner because the beginning of that song, like you said, you mentioned, um, the very beginning, the intro is just it's fun, it's funky, it's happy, like it's like all the vibe, like it's amazing. The beats on that song are like literally just phenomenal. I love that song, and obviously it does mention snacks, which I love. But no, I love that. And I think everybody that listens to, like you, everybody that listens to this is going to be drawn to My Dirty Desire. Like, that is an amazing song. The lyrics are so good. I love all the songs, obviously. I'm a big fan of Bewilderment. But so those are my favorites. What were your favorites?
For me, you know, I'm just real heavy on side B. It's got to be Bewilderment and My Dirty Desire. But one of the things that I love so much about this, so I used to make beats in a different chapter of life. And so paying attention to the way that drums hit, drum fills, instrumentation, the way it comes in. What I'll say about this is, if y'all listen to the snare drum, it's on In Your Corner. That same snare drum you will hear on other songs, also layered with other percussion or other drums. I just love the way that it's like a finger flick on the drum pad, right?
Right.
That's what it sounds like to me. But Jay is an architect with shaping and molding sounds. And that's something that we talked about, you know, his ability to layer things. And so as you listen to this record, I want you to really focus on soloing out the different instruments. There are sounds that by themselves don't really like resonate with you, where you say, oh, it's just this.
Right.
But when it comes all together on the song,
yes,
what it adds in that element, it can really transcend things. And that's where you get some of these really rich buildups, change-ups, solos, taking us to the drum break where it's like just this celebratory type of feeling. He is a true architect when it comes to designing sounds. Make no mistake about that. So those two really get me. I love the intro though. I could feel like I was in a jungle. It reminded me of the cover of this. Like he's coming out of the water. I see like lush green around him. You know what I'm saying? And so the thing behind this Bewilderment is chaos. It's trying to find yourself. It's being confused. And with that in mind as the theme for this, when we leave at the end of the record, it's remember I love you. Please don't forget.
I love it. Yeah.
It's this like self-healing therapeutic journey that comes on this. And I always say, we call this stuff music, but it heals at scale. And so that's why this record is my #1 for 2023 album of the year, Pale J. With that said, I think it's time that we get into the listening session. So let's go ahead and get by the turntable real quick. All right, so I'm gonna let you pick the first track. Are we gonna roll with
I think we already know By the Lake.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we'll get that on there.
Which I'm sure everybody that's listening has heard this over and over, but it's so good, and it just really showcases his voice, and his voice is just amazing. I love it.
All right, so here we go.
For just one night, I thought it was you. And I won't know I had to remember. I never know it could be you. I would take my city, move to the mountains from the sea. Change the office for shade, and change my flagship for the bed. It's too my room for just one.
And it's so
That's
good.
amazing. That is amazing.
It's great. It's so
And here's something I'm gonna tell y'all. That one wasn't even slated to be on this record. That was something that came about a little later on.
Hear that? I just can't hear
I couldn't
that.
imagine it. I couldn't imagine it. But hey, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
All right,
sure.
so I'm gonna play. That was a Gabby Dollhouse in the background. Y'all saw real quick. We got a lot of things going on down here. All right, so we'll go ahead and play my pick. Now, I do have a dance routine for this, but I don't think I'm gonna reveal it. It's not ready yet. I was practicing last night.
No,
I should just save it for like in the mirror kind of thing.
No, I definitely need just a few moves. Like, I need to see
You're gonna have to get it in the DM then. So that part about feeling so alive, like
So good.
the placement of that, this is a monster.
Yeah.
When I first heard this, I was like, again, he's describing this like incredible night. I want to have an incredible night. But you know what it was? It was just being home, right? Like chilling out, taking that shower, not paying attention to the world outside. Now, he said put his phone down. I don't ever put my phone down, but
Right.
I felt that. I felt that because I've had so many nights like that, and I said to myself, why aren't I out right now? I wasn't supposed to be, you know? And Jay, because Jay said it felt okay. And it made me be like, you know what? There's other people that do this too. And
Right.
it sounded like so cool the way he described it. Now, the line that got me when he says she's supple like a jungle cat, who says that?
Yeah.
Rach, who says that?
Here's the deal. I need to know more. You know, I love Phil J, so I need more details on this supplement.
So I asked him about that. I said, Jay, nobody writes like you, man. Where'd that come from? Like yoga. He's doing like an online yoga class, and the instructor said, "Be supple like a jungle cat." That's
hilarious.
where it comes from. I mean, these are little insights. So incredible.
That's awesome.
So incredible. All right, so you're up next. What are we doing?
We're gonna do In Your Corner. Start with the intro because that's my jam.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I was right there all along. Softly stroke your hair, sitting on your shoulder. And know my dear, I love jerking like your mom. We were lovers from the start.
I just love those lyrics. Those lyrics.
Somebody said 45 RPM makes a difference. You're absolutely right. You do not spin this at 33 1/3.
Yeah, do not.
So the lyrics, but I'll be honest, I'd be, mobbing around the house doing that la 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 la. I mean, it's so catchy. That's what I'm talking about.
Good.
And then
And
you get to the break on that.
it's amazing. It's so good. It's so
It's
good.
kind of like leaving work on a Friday. It's really hot outside, but you just feel great. Like Like everything is going your way. That is what that sounds like to me.
Yes.
You know?
It's awesome. I love it.
All right, I'm gonna play
The lyrics are great. They're like funky. I love it.
Yeah. All right, this is the last one for me. Y'all know this one. I love this. Rising. Rising. This is so powerful. Woo!
Yeah, it's so good. I love this one.
You can hear the snare I'm talking about on this track.
It is. So good.
I gotta stop, but I was almost gonna listen to the whole song because I like it so much. But
Yeah, it's great.
we picked 4 goodies. We picked
They're
4
so good.
goodies.
Yes. And we could go on. They're amazing.
Totally. Secretly, I would love to see this pressed across 45s. I think that would be like
It would be
wicked. Could you imagine playing My Dirty Desire in the out for people?
I would love
You
it.
got to have it on the tiny one. You can't bring the LP in the club.
Yes. Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. So that takes us to the final portion of tonight's celebration.
This is what I've been waiting for. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, Rach has some questions lined up for me. I got my notes here from meeting with Pale J. So go ahead and start firing away.
Okay, so we know that you had the opportunity to go one-on-one on a video call with Pale J, which, by the way, I'm super jealous. And I can't wait to hear the answers to these questions. I've got a couple questions lined up. So who is Pale J, and what's something you took away from your meeting with him, and something that most people wouldn't know?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say, Pale J is not Aaron Frazier. A lot of people were in the DMs asking me that for like a month straight.
I'm going on the record as saying I've never thought he was Aaron Frazier.
Yeah.
He's way taller. Like, if you watch his videos, which, by the way, I really quickly have to say something because I don't know if I'll get a chance, about his dance moves. I'm obsessed. I love his dance moves.
You got great footwork.
They are infectious. Like, you watch these dance moves, you don't even have to listen to the music. You can watch these without the music. Now, the music is an extra bonus, of course. But those moves, like, oh my gosh, they're great. Like, they're funky, they're fresh.
Yeah.
They're like contagious. Love those moves. But I got sidetracked. What were we saying?
So this is the one thing that I took away from talking with Pale J that just blew my mind. I always want to know about what inspired you, what got you there, what are you listening to? He doesn't listen to music. In fact, take things a step further, like me, I like to have music on in the background. I like to have it going everywhere, right? That is not who Pale J is. Pale J is a very intentional person, like in the moment. And so he is when he's cycling, he doesn't have music in his ears. He is fully immersed in what he's doing. And so when it comes to bewilderment, it's not like he walked in like, ooh, I heard this song and inspired me. It's like when he gets in the zone, when he's ready to commit to making music, it is all him. And that's all that he's focused on. And so that moved me because I've never heard that. I've talked to a lot of musicians, and Jay's the first one to say I don't really listen to music.
That
Only
really is
when I'm making my own is when he's really got his ear to the stone. Occasionally he might put something on during breakfast, right? But I mean, that would
That
be
is
something that,
crazy to learn. Yeah.
yeah. So that was something that was really interesting to me. You know, we're talking about someone who by trade is a professional producer
Right.
and beat maker, shaping these sounds and stuff like that. So I get it. I get it. He is all in, but he doesn't go halfway with anything, right? If he's cycling, he's all into cycling. And just like with the music, he's all in. So that really helped me understand who he is just as a person as well as a musician.
Awesome. That's actually really crazy. That's not something that I would ever think about him,
Oh, no.
because I'm so obsessed, and this whole community is just, it's music, music, music. So the fact that he doesn't listen to music very often, that's wild. So what can you tell us about the origin of Pale J? The
Yes.
mask, the hat, the font on his album cover.
Right.
We took a deep
So I asked about, you know, what we see, the mask, the hat. And I want to say 10 to 15 years ago, he was in his hometown and he was in a hat store. And he had seen the hat. He had seen the baklava. And he bought it because he thought one day he was going to use that with music in some capacity. So that is the origin of where we're getting the mask, where we're getting the hat from. You know, this wasn't something that was planned. You know, Celestial Suite wasn't in the works. Bewilderment wasn't necessarily anything that was planned. These were all things that he had been sitting on. And a lot of the songs that we hear, he would sing to his wife in the car, well before we ever heard of them or they were recorded. Let me see here. Yeah. So, you know, that was really interesting to me. I think kind of understanding that it makes sense when we hear the instrumentation. And I'll say that I think many of you who might be listening have probably heard Pale J's work, not as Pale J, but with other artists, with maybe movies, cinema, and TV. And it's award.
Right.
I mean, he is a very, very, you could tell on the first listen, he's not new. He is not new at any of this. He is a master of his craft. And so to hear the way that he talked about shaping the sounds, specifically giving me insights to the snare, or the way that the instrumentation kind of comes together, that was really powerful to hear that. I think the insights into the songs, like I talked about with the snacks, what Vladimir is about, Dirty Desire, all of that stuff. This is just everyday life he's living, and you know, it's like he's storing it in this bank somewhere and he's bringing it out through his music. And my gosh, it's just some of the most infectious lines I've ever heard.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Bewilderment officially releases tomorrow. What did Pale J share with you about the making of the album? Did he give you any insights to what some of the music means? I know we've already touched on some of that. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah. So when it comes to music that comes from Pale J, it's a feeling. It's him being himself. It's very much in the moment. In fact, you know, I think there's these bouts where there's bursts of energy, but it has to be his. He's got to have the feeling for it. It's got to be the way that he hears it, the way that he constructs it. And I think that what we've all seen is that when he has that control and power over how his music reaches the world, it's a winning formula. You know, nothing was planned. A lot of this just happened. You know, it started out with a few songs, and it just slowly kind of built from there. You know, nothing too crazy. I mean, I was kind of hoping that he would give me this beautiful mind explanation and these mathematical equations for how he came to certain things. But really, it's about not overthinking it, being simple. And I think that's why he's able to reach us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know you touched on the liner notes that Terry put on the back.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wanted to add to that? Because I know that was something that you really loved about bewilderment.
Yeah, when I read what Terry wrote, I knew there was more to it. I figured they had maybe spent some time. It was just written like he had some insights that came from more than maybe a virtual call or an email or something along those lines.
Right.
And again, when I think about Terry, he's just an incredible human being. He is a leader for the community, the scene. He's a trailblazer. But really what makes him special is how he's able to maybe coach, guide, or really what I want to say is support the artist to help them reach their full potential. And Jay said that Terry is unlike anyone that he's really ever worked with, where Terry gave him, full control to create the way he wanted. And he said he appreciated that so much because he hadn't really experienced that before. So it made me think, wow, this was really important. This meeting was really special because there's an entire song preface really dedicated to Terry and saying, thank you for seeing me, for giving me the opportunity. Jay's a very grateful person, lots of gratitude, but he's very real. He's very authentic. And, it was just incredible to sit down and talk with him. But you can really see the affinity that he has for Terry and Coal Mine Records and allowing the Karma Chief platform to really kind of host and put on full display this masterpiece, this work of art from Jay.
So good.
And I think about, I know sometimes people say, well, why did it come out on Karma Chief? Why not Coal Mine? And I love what Karma Chief is. Karma Chief is something that we really can't put one set of, one word on or even a few words to describe it.
Yeah.
It's just something else. And I thought that Karma Chief was the perfect home, for Jay, and how he kind of fit into the Coal Mine Karma Chief family was really special. And you can see that come out through Terry's liner notes. You can see that, you can hear it on the song with Jay. But I think there's more to come. And I think we have a lot to be excited about for Pale Jay.
I've noticed that, I follow Pale Jay, obviously. Yes. And I have that little box clicked in the corner. So if he posts something or adds to a story, I get a notification, and I always like it. And sometimes comment, and he may think I'm crazy because I always comment. But he posts little snippets of songs and beats. And there was one, and I was like, this is amazing, or I don't know exactly what I commented, but he mentioned this is new music or for something coming in the future, and it was so exciting. I was like, yes, more,
Right.
I'm so excited.
The one other thing that I would want to add real quick, let me see where this is. So the track that means the most to Jay is Dirty Desires, My Dirty Desires. That one, I think, he described maybe there was some challenge with that one and really trying to get the sound that he wanted. But that is the heartbeat of the album, if you were to ask Pale Jay. To me, I think that's the one that gets it for me. And I think that's the one that's going to get people moving. But In Your Corner, that's the big one. That's the one that's on the radio. That is a monster track. All things aside, beautiful record. I think the one thing that I would share, and this will be the last kind of thing that I'll talk about in the interview, I always ask musicians, what's a mantra or quote that really moves you? What's something that sticks by you? And it actually came from his wife. And the quote is, feel all your feelings. There is space for all feelings. And that aligns with the person that I talk to, the musician that we are seeing and hearing. I really wish that everybody got a chance to connect with Jay like I did, because he's an incredible human being. And he just made a masterpiece. I mean, we could talk about this record for hours, but I want folks to go to the record store and pick this bad boy up. I want them to go to Coal Mine Records, Plaid Room Records, and shop this bad boy right here.
For sure.
Tomorrow
is
the official release date.
Yes.
Yeah. Here it is, folks. Pale Jay Bewilderment.
So
Rach got the LPs. Wax got the LPs. Now y'all got to go pick it up. Now, before we take off, I want y'all to know again, Coal Mine Records, Plaid Room Records. That's where you can shop it online. I recommend this for absolutely everyone, regardless of maybe what your go-to genre is. This is one to pick up. It's one to put on the shelf. Take it out the wrap and put it on the table. Buy one for a friend. This is good.
You gotta get it. It's so good.
Any parting words for our audience before we leave?
Thanks for bearing with me. This is something way out of my comfort zone.
Nah, you were the star of
um,
the show. I couldn't have done this by myself.
Also, don't judge my accent. I'm sure I sound a little southern, but this was so much fun, and hopefully we'll be back hyping Pale J's next album together.
Part
right?
2, baby.
Yes.
Part 2.
Yes,
Now listen,
for sure.
I'm not going to let you hop off this live stream without giving everyone your handle so they can go follow you.
Is it right? It's Rach J.
You don't even know your handle?
It's been a long time since I created it, so I think it's Rach JH. So, yeah.
I'm gonna tag Rach when we share this afterwards, but Rach is a staple. She Wax Villain family, so make sure you give a follow. Rachel does fantastic work supporting the independent scene. Is an awesome member of the community and someone that I connect with on a regular basis. So make sure you show love, give a follow. That's it for tonight's very special album release celebration for Pale J's Bewilderment. I want to shout out everybody at Coal Mine Records. I want to shout out everyone at Plaid Room Records. And I most definitely want to shout out Pale J for giving me the opportunity to support this, to experience the music early, and really champion and evangelize this masterpiece of an LP.
So
Wax
good.
Villain, Seattle, Washington. We're out of here. Take care, everyone.